From Japan, here's a watch with some meticulous detailing you really have to see. It's steeped in history. It's from my favourite brand that produces heritage military timepieces. It's my second watch from M.R.M.W, that's Montre Roroi Military Watches. I've marked this video as sponsored because I didn't pay for the watch, and I'll place an affiliate link in the description. If you use it to buy something, I can earn a small fee at no extra cost to you. My usual disclosures. One extra long NATO strap, I'll come back to that later on. For this part of my review, I began in ignorance without any prior research. I thought I'd let my initial thoughts and findings lead the narrative just for this unboxing chapter, before I deep dive into some surprising discoveries. I'm greeted with glossy literature that watch enthusiasts will appreciate. It details various models and gives some insight into the rich brand history. I love these egg box style containers. Inside we have the Big Turtle. The brand calls it the Big Turtle Small Seconds, which better translates in English to Big Turtle Subdial, as you'll see. It's a handsome watch. It really demands my attention as I spend just a moment taking in that bold case design and vintage inspired silhouette. Why does peeling the sticker off bring so much pleasure? Surpassed only by bursting bubble wrap, which I also have. It's an authentically scaled 40mm large cushioned pilot's watch, which makes it right in line with today's favoured watch dimensions. This should attract a much larger customer base than my previously reviewed 32mm A17 mil-spec pilot watch from the same brand, which, as you can see, proudly remains a firm favourite in my collection. I'll link to my review of this watch in the description. A quick confirmation with the calipers here. I get almost exactly 40mm, and I measure the lug to lug at 51mm, which doesn't tell the whole story. I noticed the aggressively downward angled lugs and completely flat case back tell me that this watch is certain to be comfortable to wear. Also, the spring bar holes are not at the ends, but are located about halfway on the length of the lugs, making the true lug-to-lug approximately a much shorter 45mm. But it's the quick-release strap that's next to come to my attention because it feels super soft. I know it to be crazy horse leather, and measure its thickness at 3mm, and I suspect they've done something very welcome here. I measure 80mm on the buckle end part of the strap, excluding the buckle. That's 5mm longer than most standard watch straps, and it's important because it means the buckle end will reach around to the centre of my average 7¼ inch wrist, and in turn that is important for centering the watch head on my wrist. At last, a manufacturer making straps long enough to fit the average adult Westerner. So immediately I'm presented with a watch I want to wear, and I can wear in comfort straight out of the box. The comfort is incredible. You don't have to break in the strap, it's already flexible. I see filled, sanded and painted edges, signs of a premium construction. I'm certain you won't want to change this for anything else. So here's the subdial ticking away there, and I'm just going to set the watch so that I can get a feel for the movement. It's a push-pull crown. A screw-down crown isn't much use to a pilot unless they've ditched at sea. Time setting is quite accurate, with a lot of feel over the positioning of the hands. The rotating coin edge bezel is really smooth. More about that to follow. Okay, next I went away and spent a few days with the watch so I can report back with real-world user experience and fill you in on the backstory and heritage of this impressive looking timepiece. If you appreciate the extra care taken, please like the video for me and consider subscribing if you're new to the channel. Thanks. A few days later, I've come to favour the watch for my morning walks. The benefit of a big dial and a very clear domed mineral crystal makes it a useful outdoors watch. Let's focus on that dial. It has an overwhelmingly beautiful dial print on those Arabic numerals. It looks hand-painted and mimics the vintage aesthetic of old radium loom. It's actually done with a modern mesh printing technique, using completely safe modern luminescent material that is applied in the same colour to the cathedral hands. I like the rail line minute track that circles the dial. It adds precision when reading the time, and there's something about the quiet stillness of a watch with a subdial that cultivates a sense of calm. I only see movement when I focus on the subdial. It makes me feel less hurried. Who would imagine a simple black military dial could look this special? Now, this very historically detailed stainless steel case sets it apart from the generic shared cases you might see at the sub £100 mark from other brands making similar style vintage inspired watches. In fact, there are some faithfully revived design nuances that surely have required additional investment in production. For example, I wonder if any of you have been extra observant and have already noticed what's going on with the lugs. They are flared and splay outwards towards the ends, and on this watch the lug width is 22mm around here where the spring bar is located, but there is an elegant transition to 23mm. Some history. This watch is a modern interpretation of 1930s Czech military pilot watches that became known as Majetek, short for Majetek Vojenské Zbraví, which is not a brand or model, but roughly translates to property of military administration. The 1930s watches were made to specifications outlined by the Czech military and issued to Czechoslovakian Air Force pilots. They were robust pilot watches with bolt cushion cases and often a moving reference point for timing. And this is how Montre Roroi pays homage to that legacy, blending vintage military heritage with modern precision timekeeping. The bidirectional rotating bezel is quite useful. If you want to time something for, say, 10 minutes, just advance the triangle marker 10 minutes past the minutes hand and keep an eye on it catching up to that mark. Inside the lugs, where manufacturers often neglect to do any case finishing, we have a vertical brushed finish. In fact, all of the case is brushed. And notice the hardware. These screws at 6 and 12 are functional and need to come out for the case back to be removed. Inside is a Japanese quartz movement, the Miyota caliber 1L45, which replaces the Citizen 1045A. Miyota is the movement-making subsidiary of Citizen. Anyway, it's quite a modern movement, accurate to 20 seconds a month. I'm not going to open the case back to peek at it because I just don't have a wide enough small screwdriver, sorry. But otherwise, it's quite a safe and practical method of securing the case back. Oh yeah, the battery should last 3 years before you need to change it. Here's what the watch looks like on the NATO strap. I think you have to choose one or the other at purchase. I measured the NATO at around 28 centimeters long, which is a very generous length. I'd go for the Crazy Horse leather 2-piece strap for all of the reasons I already gave. It's a contender for the most comfortable watch in my collection. Its flat case back, lugs that curve around my wrist, and the wide, extra soft leather strap all contribute to unbelievable comfort. Not many big watches can offer comfort this good. Check out my playlist of historic military watch reviews next. Thanks.